They just said that 92% of the people that went to college and racked up all this student loan debt don't and won't have jobs in the degrees that they got the debt in.
Listen, that's me included, except, I dropped out after one semester. And, I find it really interesting that just a little bit ago, we were having this conversation about Black men not attending college. And then people were talking about, well, a lot of men in general aren't attending college as much because they sit there and think to themselves, okay, can I make the same amount of money I want doing something else, something different, right? Maybe they can get into a trade or they can take another path unless places are actually requiring that you have a college degree today. And then you had the women who are like, oh, no, but it teaches you this, it teaches you that. And men were like, nah, BS. None of that was to encourage laziness or not being ambitious when it comes to setting yourself up for success. It was just simply a conversation about, is college worth it? And then you have stats like this, where people are talking about 92% of people who got a degree don't even work in the field that they got the degree in, followed by all these videos of the educated women complaining about all the debt that they racked up. I don't know. Was it worth it?
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
So why y'all asking us to pay this money back? If you know that, why are we being asked to pay? And then this is the thing that gets me. Before I could even lift my right foot out of the door frame of graduation, my university was already contacting me for a donation. It's because of y'all that I'm a bam flipping donation to the Department of Education. And now they want to garnish our wages. What did you go to school for? Did you graduate with your degree? And are you actively using your degree to make tons of money like they promised you? Was it worth going to college? Was it worth racking up all this student loan debt? And even if you did go to college, finish your degree, you walked across the stage and you got your pretty degree, have you finished paying back your student loans? Will you pay back your student loans?
That's a good question, guys. Comment down below. This is why I say for a good portion of people, college is just an outright scam, right? College is able to sell you a course because they're selling you courses and not give you a guarantee at all. And I'm talking about that you will get the job in the field that you're studying for, but they can promise you one thing, is that you're going to be in debt after you're done. I think that if you're a man today deciding, hey, should I go to college? And you don't have a direct path of what you want to do in school, and what you want to do doesn't really require a degree, then I think you should seriously figure that out first. You should possibly pursue an education outside of school that will give you a high earning skill, something practical where you can take care of yourself, be independent. And then while you're pursuing that, maybe you figure out, hey, if I want to go back to school, I can go back to school. But what people do a lot of the times is that they'll go into school figuring out what they want to do in school. And there's a lot of insecurity when it comes to people who don't have a degree. There's a lot of insecurity of people really doubting themselves and not feeling like they measured up to someone's expectations. And I say, F it. If you don't need it to get what you want out of life, then you don't. Call it irresponsible, whatever you want. I don't care. Top comment here says loan equals pay it back with interest. This is funny because you see a bunch of people here responding back and they're kind of like paid back. Somebody else here added, pay up, suckers. I think the other thing too is that people who went to college think they're so smart. I'm not saying that they aren't educated in the field that they studied, but it's a pretentious way that they carry themselves out here in the general public. They carry themselves in a way that you kind of, you think of that college debt. You're like, yep, good luck paying that off. Especially when it comes to reminding people how educated you are. Somebody else who says welder by trade, debt free, right? Here's somebody else who says pay. No, we already read that one. The next comment says part of being an adult. Another person who says got 3 bachelors in psychology, biology, and nursing. Working on my master's in nursing, loans paid, and paying for my master's out of pocket. Okay, there you go. And she wanted to be a nurse, so she needed to go to school to do that. Somebody else who says, thank God I went to trade school. This commenter says accountability. Here's somebody else who says never went, learned a trade. Another person here added, I paid mine back all by myself. And somebody else who says, Charlie Kirk has been trying to tell people this for years. Somebody else who says, it's not about the degree, it's about the person. Huh? Here's somebody else who says trade school is 100% better than college these days. I think this all comes down to knowing what you want. What do you want out of life? And I think for most men, if making money is the goal, then figure out how much money you want to make. And if you don't have to go into hella debt to make that amount of money, then you can pursue a trade or another avenue to gain that skill and get paid for that work.
Y'all, they about to garnish our wages. They really know how to just ruin your day. The U.S. government hates everybody here. Y'all, as of May 5th, they're taking 15% of your wages towards student loans. Y'all, I've been ignoring student loans since I've been in school. If y'all know how much I owe in student loan, y'all would think I went to school to be a lawyer. And it's a degree that wasn't even providing me a decent lifestyle. I was just living off vibes. So you mean to tell me I went to school and y'all lied to me? Y'all wanted me to go out there and do triple the work to get a degree. Y'all, I owe so much money. I'm in Texas, so we don't have state tax. 15%. Hell, you might as well go ahead and add 5 more. Add 10. Because that's the state tax. I cannot believe this. I just had to pull over, y'all. My head started throbbing. I'm about to get a headache. They're doing this in a couple of weeks, y'all. I got to go do deferment. I got to go do something. Y'all, we can't get away from this. People are even already saying that their credit score has dropped from a 700 something to a 500 something. Oh my gosh, my credit score. 15%, whether you have it or not, as of May 5th. So long as you have money in your bank account, they are taking it. In fact, financial aid just called me the other day and I hung up on them. Not in the mood, don't have it. I'm living off life. I'm vibing. This man really said, you know what? Let's make the rich richer. Let's make the others poor.
Vibing is crazy. Top commenter says, awesome, pay up. Somebody else who says, you took the loan, repay your debt. Money is not free. Yo, they're not letting them off easy here in the comment section. The Biden administration was trying to forgive student loans. They weren't. They knew they couldn't. They played that in a certain way so that people think, oh, we should. Nah. Somebody else who says they can just take my bachelor's degree. I'm not using it anyways. Of course you're not. Somebody else who says my credit score can't afford another drop any lower. It's going to match my blood pressure. Somebody else here added, go to college so you can be poor and struggle. So is everybody now starting to see what maybe men, and I say men because people think men were sitting there going, we're not going to go to college and going to pursue other ventures. I'm not talking about men who are not pursuing anything and are giving up on life here. No. And if that's you, I'm not talking about you. Right. Talking about people who said, hey, college doesn't seem worth it. I'm not going to get into debt. I'm going to do something else. Those people were called crazy and not as smart at some point. Somebody else who says, not even 6 months in. Somebody else here added, I wish I never went to college. Oh, man, I don't think we're going to hear the end of this. Guys, of course, I'm curious to know, what do you think? Leave your comments down below. I appreciate you always checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.